Okay. Hmm. Terrible. All right, folks, we're live in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Let's go. Yep. Here we go. I think it's time. I'll be the first one. Yep, we are live. No doubt about it. Look at this nice sunshine on this Tuesday. Folks, now also, who's going to be the first one to stop into the market at Coesit? The market at Coesit. Good. Here we go. Yep. Nope. Not at all. Very, very nice. Folks, there it is. The market at Coesit. Right now, you get this mug with a $20 purchase. Spend $20, get this mug free. JFD Road Patrol. Those that follow will know it. I would love it right now. If there's someone near the Coesit Inn, if you're in the Warwick area, the market at Coesit, it's connected to the restaurant. You pop in, whatever, you can buy whatever you want. There's all kinds of gourmet food, assorted specialties. They have gift baskets. Spend $20 and you get this limited edition. When they're out, Road Patrol mug for free. It's a free gift of purchase. And I want to also thank our friend Carol, was the one that actually had it designed. Now, we do have others on the website, but stop in the market at Coesit. Beautiful gift with purchase. So, and then send me a photo of that, as a matter of fact. Give you a special shout out. All right, we're going to be live. Beautiful. Thank you, Carol. Yep. Gift with purchase. Any dollar, any item. Spend 20 and get a free Road Patrol mug for free. There you go. So offer good while supply lasts. Or valid, I should say. And there's plenty of items in that market. But it's going to go really quick. There we go. People make so many different assumptions. Admittedly, I was not the designer of that, but we're very appreciative. All right, we're live in just a moment. We are live on the radio, plus all of our platforms, X and YouTube. In just a moment, waiting for JR to give us the go-ahead. Yeah, we'll let it go. All right, and we are standing by. Yes, Road Patrol live later. Well, the weather is dynamite. So there we go, folks, at 106. Look at that. Depending where you are, 55 degrees, climbing towards 60. Bright sunshine on this Tuesday, and all dry this afternoon. There is rain in the forecast for tomorrow, but I don't even see it. Certainly not over the next 24 hours. This is the real news. Right now, we're live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, you can always listen online at the website, depetro.com. And then you can also, right now, we are also live on X and on YouTube. This portion of the program, folks, I love weather like this, especially this time of year, because it really helps people get out. It's good for the retailers. It's good for shopping. And remember, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Christmas season well underway. And they have everything you need decorating your home. Fraser fir trees, potted live trees, custom handmade wreaths, 10 inch, 60 inches in size, Christmas swag, mistletoe, hanging baskets, Christmas roping, cut greens, decorative pots, cemetery baskets. They also have florist quality poinsettias, custom made sleighs from local artists. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. They're open 7 days a week. And on top of that, gift certificates are available. Look for them on Facebook. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. And they want to thank everyone for making this year their best year ever. Best year ever at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, folks, looking at the calendar, a week from today is Christmas Eve, which means a week from tomorrow is, in fact, Christmas Day. This is going to be a big weekend, and there's good weather out there right now. Stop in and see them at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Steve and Debbie Jr. and Byron, they want to thank all of their wonderful customers for making this their best year ever. I'm not surprised. You know, they got it out. There's dedication. They grind it. Their next day off is Christmas Day, and they haven't had a day off this entire year. They work it, and firewood is available for pickup and delivery. Stop in and see them. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, folks, good afternoon. Right now on this sunny Tuesday, and this portion of our program and sponsors of the website, and it's brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. And right now, while supplies last, if you stop into the market at Coesit that we talk about, they have the limited edition Road Patrol mugs. Now, it's a gift with purchase, so all you have to do is pop into the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick, and we have a fantastic limited edition. And I want to thank our friend Carol, who was kind enough to present that to us. It's the JFD. Most people, if you follow Road Patrol, you know what that means. Road Patrol mug. And it's a fantastic mug. And it's available right now for free. $20 gift with purchase. $20 gift with purchase. Coffee tastes better in the JFD Road Patrol mug at the market at the Coesit Inn. It's right there at the Coesit Inn. And folks, if you have people coming in from out of town, or you're going to have a get together, the Coesit Inn can accommodate a large group. The Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. Folks, good afternoon. And again, I am very happy. I mean, right now, the way all of our platforms are just taking off. It's great growth. Not only is this a fantastic way to end the year, and by the way, we will be doing Road Patrol Live later because it's not raining. It's difficult, if not impossible, to do in the rain. But I want to thank everyone. It's really astounding how much all of our platforms are taking off. And I recognize not everyone understands that, but or even what I mean when I say platforms. But we have a very good following, obviously, on Facebook. But we have developed incredible following on TikTok. We have a very next year, the project is going to be YouTube. Get that up and going. Obviously, our radio audience. And then also Instagram, which we have a presence. We didn't have a presence. I'm happy with it. It's probably my least favorite for various reasons. I started off liking it, but I want to just caution various individuals that let me explain some. Maybe I should first explain something, but I don't know if I have to or need to. Obviously, our radio audience, AM 1380, 99.9 FM, and then you can always listen online. You can post whatever you like on your page. That's why I see you have a page. If you're on, and I'll use Facebook as an example, you have your page to post things. So I don't take kindly to individuals that they think they're funny. They like to say, I have freedom. You do have freedom of speech on your page. So it's not easy to get attention. There's some different things we're going to try out in the new year. But I often feel sometimes I need to keep people on a short leash and remind them that they can post whatever they want on their page. But I don't take kindly at all to people who in any way knock either some of the people that we work with, some of the projects we're involved in. It's a short hook. And here's a spoiler alert. The more popular, we'll just stick with the page for a moment, that it becomes, the less patience I have for people that, are going to undermine a lot of the efforts. But I want to, so I want to put that out there. But anyhow, stop in the Cowesett Inn. They're open 7 days a week. And in the market at Cowesett, you come in right to the left is the market at Cowesett. And right now, gift with purchase. And there's assorted things. They have prepared meals. They have soups. They have gourmet products. They have all kinds of different, they have gift baskets. But you can get a limited edition, while supply lasts, mug gift with purchase at the Cowesett Inn. And then I always like, once people go, if they then take a photo and then send it to me. So you're not just purchasing a gift basket, you're getting something with it. Now, I do want to touch on, and I'm very serious, what's going on right now in Canada is Trudeau is being forced out. And there's a lot of pressure on him to step down. So there's several factors that are going on right now in Rhode Island. And I don't know if other people have called for it. I know some people are going after DOT. But to me, the problem that we face, and I recognize it's the end of the year, and I recognize that he was elected in November of 2022. But I really believe with Biden leaving office and where the state is right now, I don't know if I'm the first. Maybe there's other people that have said it, but I want to be very clear. Objectively, I believe that Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee should seriously consider resigning. And I mean it. I believe he takes off a lot of time. And the people that he has surrounded himself with, I believe the job is too much for him. This latest crisis now with the cyber attack. First, I thought they were in over their head with the bridge. And as I have talked about, folks, part of this, obviously, ultimately, he is responsible. But I believe he made some deals where he is compromised. I think it's most telling that not one person has lost their job or been terminated from Rhode Island DOT with what we're seeing play out with the bridge. I think that's very telling. And it's what I've said, which is I don't think he has the power to get rid of anyone. It goes beyond embarrassing. He's holding back the state. Deals, various deals and agreements that Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee made in order to get into office are really suffocating the state. And I really believe over the Christmas holiday, I think he should give serious thought to stepping down, because this latest data breach, not only, now there's going to be a class action lawsuit, of which I'm not surprised, and there should be, but he is Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, Coach Mckee. He's drowning in the job. He's not up to the job. I think part of it is where he is in life. I think part of it's also had he just actually won office instead of initially taking office, I think a lot of it is just who he is. And maybe we're never going to know if Dan Mckee of, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe would have been up for the job more, maybe under different circumstances. But I think what's clear is he is certainly not up to the challenge right now. And it's how much can the state afford to be battling this? And there's some larger issues that are happening right now. Dan McGowan, who we talked to with the Boston Globe, he has a piece today that is frightening to say the least. And, they talk about Hasbro. And one of the things that he mentions in his roadmap article in the Boston Globe is, in speaking with state leaders, one of the things that they're noticing is that Hasbro's not asking for anything. Hasbro's not even saying to Rhode Island, if you do this, this, and this. They don't even want the state to counter. I mean, it sure seems fait accompli. And what's astounding about that, several things actually. Number one of the things that the Rhode Island leaders noticed is that Hasbro isn't hiring any lobbyists. Wow. You want to talk about an explosive comment. What is that supposed to mean? So, in other words, I hate to even have to broach this, but to mention, why do they have to hire a lobbyist? Why do they have to? What would the lobbyist say? The lobbyist might say, number one, you're going to pay them. And then what do the lobbyists do with the money that they get from their clients? They throw fundraisers and they pass it. They launder it right through to the political leaders. Why does Hasbro have to hire lobbyists? Why do any of these companies have to hire lobbyists? That sure sounds like a pay-to-play system. We notice they're not hiring any lobbyists. Why should any of these companies have to hire lobbyists? Why can't they just negotiate? Because one of the first things the lobbyist would say, and by the way, folks, I'm not naive. This goes on in DC all the time. Microsoft. Do you remember when Microsoft had all those problems going after them, antitrust and everything else? They determined that Microsoft didn't have any lobbyists in Washington, D.C. Microsoft wasn't making any political donations. So if there were, let's play that out. Hasbro announces they have hired 2 high-powered lobbyists that's going to represent them at the State House and dealing with State House leaders. One of the first things that the high-powered lobbyists would say is, we need to do a political fundraiser, or we need to go to that political fundraiser. How much of this has to happen before our political elected officials, because they're not leaders, realize not everybody wants to get shaken down. Not everybody wants to do pay to play. Now, for all the tough talk about, number one, Hasbro, folks, I don't know if people can figure that out, but that seems very clear that they're leaving. They're not even asking for anything. They don't want Rhode Island to counter. Rhode Island, Governor Mckee, we're going to put together the pitch and we're going to have a team. About Hasbro, they're not even interested in it. That's someone who is leaving. The other company, and I'm not saying that the state has any control over this, by the way, but a company that's really getting hammered right now is CVS. CVS stock is the lowest it's been in 12 years. CVS is plummeting right now. You know what happens when the stock drops? When the company is in turmoil like that, they start laying people off. How much longer is CVS going to be in Northern Rhode Island? Largest private employer in the state is CVS. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Propane Plus. For all your propane needs, you can depend on Propane Plus. 401 885 4209. In Massachusetts, 508 252 3359. Propane Plus, heating and cooling for all your propane needs. You can depend on Propane Plus. And online at propaneplus.com, residential or commercial, it's Propane Plus. You just type in your zip code, boom, propane heating and cooling. You can depend on Propane Plus. For residential or commercial, it's Propane Plus. Call them today in Rhode Island, 401 885 4209, and in Massachusetts, 508 252 3359 for Propane Plus. Folks, good afternoon. This is The Real News, and I want to be very clear. I am 100% serious about this. As far as Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, and I get it. I mean, he totally thinks that he's got everybody figured out. He does. Dan Mckee, he may come off as this bumbling guy, but he's one of those people that I didn't realize, but he definitely thinks when he walks into a room, he's the smartest guy in the room. I've seen enough. This thing's only going to go from bad to worse. And I'm not saying the rest of the media needs to echo it, but I can't go along with this charade. I don't think they have any confidence. You know what he has? He has the pathetic radio station down the dial. That's about it. That plays along, and because his pal works there and his pal controls it, and they all go along, and we're supposed to pretend this charade that he's up to the task, and I refuse. This latest that he cuts a video, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and change your passwords, and blah blah blah. It's another example. He doesn't belong there. It is the ultimate Peter principle, which is you reach a peak, and that's it. And I've given other analogies. There are some coaches that fine, they're a great college coach, but they're not cut out for the NFL. And there are some great players. There are some great players who were fantastic college players, but they're not quite right to play in the NFL. He may have been. I've heard from people, oh, he was a good mayor of Cumberland. I don't really think he did anything as lieutenant governor, but he was, whatever. He was a nice guy as lieutenant governor. We are, number one, they're on their second crisis, and there's going to be more crisis coming down the road. I don't think, and I'll say this, because, and it's really now, I mean, Channel 12 is not on board with him. That's for sure. The Boston Globe, Governor Mckee will not sit down with the Boston Globe. He won't really sit down with the Providence Journal. He writes an op-ed that no one sees. He will go on Channel 12 and Channel 10 when it's like a beat the clock, 5 minutes live, and then he's just trying to run out the clock. But his main perch of putting out his propaganda is down the dial. He is so ill-equipped for what's about to happen, which is the new incoming administration. Everything that he believes in, they're the opposite of. He wants to be excited about the independent man statue. Who cares? Who cares? This is ridiculous. He wants everyone to get excited about the most expensive soccer stadium. His priorities don't match the priorities of the people. All he manages seemingly to do so far, is he does keep people in line, but he keeps people in line like the mayor of Pawtucket and the mayor of East Providence. He obviously can't keep the mayor of, the mayor of Providence fully on board, and he certainly doesn't keep the lieutenant governor, attorney general on board. He selected Sabina Matos. Listen, do I realize that Matos would become governor if Mckee resigned? Of course I understand that. You know what? Let it. Let it bottom out. Let everybody fully see. Pull the Band-Aid off. Let everybody see how incompetent she is. How much worse could she do? At least she may start firing some people and bringing people in. Folks, what's about to happen is the entire state is kept afloat by federal aid. It's going away. They're not going to get all this federal money pumped into them that keeps them alive. He can't even pull the trigger and get rid of the state fire marshal. Like it's and I hate to use the word like, but it is embarrassing that those stooges can't even figure out with that Foxy Village. They can't even figure out how to code that. They made the purchase for these homeless pallets. By the way, I'm not in favor of this, but they have the state land, they have the pallets, and there's no one using them because of the stooge state fire marshal who refuses. Is he looking for something? Hey, this is Rhode Island we're talking about. Did someone not pay him? Is he looking for something? Is someone supposed to get a job? Is he supposed to get, why is he's holding up the whole process because he says that if they have the homeless people in these pallet shelters behind the Foxy Lady, that it could turn into the station nightclub fire. Now, anyone that would even say that verbally, you would think, boom, be terminated by the end of the day. That's not even close to the same analogy. What are you talking about? That could be the next station nightclub fire? A bunch of homeless pallet shelters on state land behind the Foxy Lady. None of those structures connect. If someone were to go down to, as I've mentioned, like Roy Carpenter's Beach, where they have all these small little units, it's very similar to that. They're smaller. The ones at Roy Carpenter's are a little bit larger, not that much, but it's the same principle where then they have a community bathroom and the whole thing. I mean, it's not that foreign, but it just shows me that Mckee he's not going to be able to fix. He can't figure out how to do the bridge. He can't. He's part of the problem. Whatever. He was the governor when it closed. He doesn't know how. If anything, I'm sure DOT is sighing relief that now there's this data breach situation because it takes less pressure off the incompetence of the bridge. But what I'm telling you, does anyone think that Governor Mckee, how do you think he's going to fare in the Trump administration? What do you think they're going to think of him? There are situations where governors interact with the president. President Trump is going to size him up in about 2 seconds. Him and Shahajian and Silva, and President Trump is going to rightfully proclaim them like, who are these clowns? Because that's what they are. Do you think it would help us in any way if Governor Mckee, Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, were in the same room as President Trump? No, it would not be a good thing. It would not be a good thing. It would actually be a bad thing. Folks, this portion of our program brought to you by JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. Call them today. Now, if you have branches or a tree that needs to be removed, JD Lawn Care and Tree Service, 401-441-0154, and look for them on Facebook, JD Lawn Care and Tree Service. And also, folks, Helen wants to throw a party for her grandchild and asked me, what's the name of the place that I recommend? Helen, kids Club on the Pike, birthday parties, before and after school programs, preschool programs, Kids Club on the Pike. It's right off of 295. They're located right on the Cranston Johnston line on Plainfield Pike. It's Kids Club on the Pike. It's designed for children. So maybe you're going to have some kind of, hey, Christmas vacation coming up. Or maybe you're going to have some kind of a party for your grandchild or a child. Kids Club on the Pike is the perfect spot. Now, also, folks, remember, they can also handle, if you're looking for someone that'll handle before and after school programs and preschool programs, Kids Club on the Pike is perfect for you. They have various locations, but they are so terrific to deal with. It's Kids Club on the Pike. But just looking ahead, I realize Governor Mckee, like the thought that next year he might announce that he's going to seek another 4 years. I don't know what condition the state is going to be like after the next 2 years. Look at the Trump administration coming in. They're talking about privatizing the U.S. mail. I think that's a good idea. I think the U.S. mail is a terrible waste of resources. It costs so much money. They might as well just privatize it, job it out. I even think there should be a way that there's a lot of people, they don't even want to receive the mail. They don't want to receive. How many people? There's all these items that people just throw away, and the cost is astronomical. So, do you see that whether it's Elon Musk or whether it's Vivek or whether it is President Trump, they're talking about efficiency. And the way the McKee administration is designed, there's nothing efficient about how our local government operates. I think seeing that quote, that they noticed that Hasbro has not hired any lobbyists, I come back to, why should they have to? Why should they have to hire lobbyists? Maybe Hasbro doesn't want to go through the games that the people at the State House make them play. Maybe they support President Trump. Maybe they don't want to make campaign donations to the elected officials in the state. Maybe they feel confident. Why should the people of Hasbro, why should they have to hire people to negotiate on their behalf when I'm sure they're quite comfortable negotiating themselves? Why do they have to go through, part of it is because when you give that lobbyist the money, part of it is then it's kicked back. It's kicked back to the elected officials at the State House. Why would that even enter a discussion? We noticed you didn't hire any lobbyists. Boy, my response to that would be, and why do we have to hire lobbyists? We're dealing with the governor of Massachusetts and the mayor of Boston, and they didn't mention that we have to hire lobbyists. Now, we're sitting in a room with you, and you people are the highest elected officials of this particular state. And you're saying that why do we have to hire these people, the lobbyists, and pay them, what, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, in order? Why do they have to negotiate and navigate? Well, it can be tricky, and you navigate your way through. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of nonsense. That sounds like someone who's looking for a kickback. That really sounds like pay to play. Folks, that is not how people want to do business. And what you're seeing with CVS right now, the situation with CVS is very, very serious right now, because the situation with CVS is they're another one that all you have to do. I'm not saying that Rhode Island, by the way, can control what's happening right now with CVS. I'm not saying that that's Rhode Island's fault, but CVS plunges to the lowest stock price in 12 years. I'm seeing another one, a rough month for CVS. It's down 17% post-election. At what point is this too low to ignore? CVS is in a lot of trouble. And they are the largest employer. How about the fact CVS removes photos of executives from its website in wake of the United Healthcare CEO assassination? Now, again, I don't know enough about it like that. But right now, CVS they're going to have to do something dramatic. And I don't know enough about what that is. But right now, if you're the McKee administration and you're actually the Rhode Island elected officials, notice I don't say leaders, boy, the last thing you need right now is for CVS to go in the tank, start laying people off. I mean, and that would be, I mean, is it as if Hasbro would be bad? CVS may say, hey, we can't do this anymore. We have to consolidate. We have to move to a business friendlier state. I also noticed, though, Representative Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts asking CVS CEO how much he's charging for a $16 drug for multiple sclerosis. The answer is $6,229, a $38,000 markup. So you have the CEO of CVS Caremark charging, it's a $16 drug, $6,229. I mean, folks, and this is why, and then people wonder why people are cheering. See, the country is tired of that. It's not just CVS, by the way. It's also Big Pharma. The country is tired of this. This has to change. I think that's one of the things that Bobby Kennedy is being sent in to do. United Healthcare. How much is the greed of these companies it's breathtaking. But I believe people are they've grown tired of it. They are weary of it. No one wants to deal with that anymore. And especially when you're talking about United Healthcare, like everybody else, no one's condoning the action that Luigi took. But the fact of the matter is, it does draw a light on that United Healthcare, their CEO, his rise to power, his claim to fame, him rising through the ranks, was basically willing to do anything to continue to make a profit for the company, even if it meant doubling, more than doubling actually, the refusal replies for the various claims that were being put in, denying, more than doubled the denial rate by using an algorithm that then just frustrated the various users, and then where they ended up giving up about it. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Watson Materials. Call them today. They're located South County Trail, East Greenwich. Watson Materials, the largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Watson Materials, what a difference it could make outside, whether it's landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. Call them today. Request a quote, 401 885 0600, 401 885 0600 for Watson Materials. Well, folks, good afternoon. Right now, this is the real news. And I mean, at 1:40, this truly is the real news. This portion of our program is also, it's still not too late. On a day like today, you could get your driveway paved or a parking lot paved. Remember, J. Perry Paving. Call them today, 401 732 1730. 401 732 1730. Letter J. J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, 20 years experience, specialized commercial paving, residential paving, seal coatings, free estimate. Call them right now. Letter J Perry Paving, 401 732 1730 for J Perry Paving. Folks, I want to come back to why, and this isn't, I firmly believe that Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, I just think it's gone past what he and his team are capable of doing. And I don't see coming back. I just wonder how much more pain is the state going to have to go through. Maybe he's never going to, maybe he can't leave. Maybe he's never going to admit that he's just not up to the job. And I also want to be very clear. This isn't anything personal about the governor, who's very thin-skinned to begin with, but he's not the right person for the right time. Maybe initially, when Gina Raimondo left, people wanted a different approach. I mean, we're never gonna know, but early on, I did kind of think, hey, he's different and seems very approachable, and it was just a different style than Gina. But I think now, the way things have gone, he has been governor for, keep in mind, he took over in March. So this would almost be about 4 years that he's in office. And I'm not convinced that he's equipped. I think that's what it comes down to. He's not equipped. Whatever it took for him to get where he is right now, it's just not a winning strategy. Again, he likes to call himself Coach Mckee. You see this in sports a lot. You see it all the time where there's a team, and they're a very good team, and they have a good season until then they start to move on to the playoffs, or they're playing teams in other divisions. You see it. This isn't a great analogy, but you see it in Little League all the time, right? All these states have their state champs. There's certain Little League teams. Boy, they were the best team in Massachusetts. So they were the best team in New Hampshire. And the kids are great and they're talented. And wow, they're state champs, or Rhode Island, wherever. And then they're playing these teams from Texas or Maryland or Pennsylvania. And then suddenly, they've never faced anybody like this. And it's kind of a rough awakening for the parents and even the players themselves. They've never experienced anything like this. I don't think the Mckee people fully get. President Trump, he's not interested in supplying federal money to sanctuary states. Now, Governor Mckee gets a free pass around here that he runs a sanctuary state, and he's able to swat away with his little radio segment, Protect the Governor, where he's asked direct questions and he just says, oh, ICE got it wrong. Oh, that's not right. And it's, oh, okay. And it's just accepted. I'm telling you, that's not going to be accepted on a national level. He and his policies of giving driving privileges to illegals, it's totally out of sync with where the Trump administration wants to go. Totally out of sync with that. They're going to cut down on the border. They're going to cut down, and they mean business, by the way. I think it's very interesting to see what's happening right now with Trudeau in Canada. He's in a panic. He's in a panic over the tariffs. He's in a panic. He's been lounging along as people from the north, and they come in. There's a lot of illegals come in from Canada, but not only that, a lot of fentanyl is pumped in from Canada into the United States. President Trump is very non-budging. The funnel is coming to an end. All the drugs pumping into the country, it's coming to an end. We're not going to have all these people with the open border policy and all the drugs and weapons and everything else that they bring into the country. Right now, the Biden administration can't even answer what's with all this drone activity up in the sky. I'll tell you who's going to have an awakening is going to be these cartels. And either the Mexican government is going to deal with the cartels, or the Trump administration is going to deal with these cartels. But it's coming to an end. They mean business. If you have I want you to think about this. The Trump administration, they are very serious that they're going to end this war with Ukraine and Russia. It's coming to an end. They're very serious with how they're going to deal with Iran, how they're going to deal with Hamas, how they're going to deal with some of these countries. It's going to be very firm, being very, very firm. They are not going to put up with nonsense from China, just as an example. So my point is, when you have that type of mentality, do people really think that the mayor of Boston, Mayor Wu, or the governor of Rhode Island, Governor McKee, he's not going to tell us how to run Rhode Island? Is he? Does he really think that the Trump administration is going to what? Give him a free pass? You know what? It is Coach McKee. We'll just let. No, it's not happening. How would the state? Do you understand? The state has a $14 billion budget, and so much of that is the pipeline of federal money that President Biden directs in, that Gina Raimondo directs in, that Senator Reid and White House direct in. The Biden advisors, one of them from Rhode Island directs in. I'm telling you, it's coming to an end, and he is just on the wrong page. The wrong page. They can't afford to lose the amount of money that they could cut off the spigot. The state is not towing the line. The state, Rhode Island, he has turned Rhode Island, as Tom Homan has said, who is it, do you think, that seeks sanctuary in a sanctuary state? It's criminals. And then on top of that, another element that local media just ignores are these safe injection centers. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, come to Rhode Island, illicit drugs are legal, whether it's meth or whether it's heroin or oxy or cocaine. You can come to Rhode Island, we'll test it for you, and you can safely use it. Folks, I can tell you that is not the position of the Trump administration. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee certainly introduced, I think, some of the most progressive policies, if not the most. Actually, it is the most progressive policies of any governor. And when you start to legalize illicit drugs, that's going to draw people in. That's going to increase violence. That's going to increase crime. You're attracting certain types to come in. The state is not on solid ground. And I don't believe he is capable of pivoting to the challenges. The way that Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee operates the state, I think it's the opposite of the way it should be. And I've said this. I think the state should be business friendly. It's not business friendly. I think they should want to encourage young entrepreneurs. They don't encourage young entrepreneurs. It should be family friendly. He's destroying quality of life. He's making the state too expensive. Now the quality of life is upset by all the traffic jams. It is seemingly, it's not your imagination, folks. It's one thing after another. And some of the smaller, lesser known companies, when they start to see a Hasbro and CVS heading for the exit, it tells you something. Go to Gillette some Sunday and see what the crowd does in the fourth quarter when the Patriots fall behind, 35-7. Do people stick it out to the end, or do they start to head towards their cars? I think you know the answer to that. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Call them today, 401-433-7272. They have a beautiful design center, Greenwich Avenue in Warwick, right next to Kochai and right near Crown Plaza. It's Dreammaker. Remember, it's respect, integrity, customer focus. You can depend on Dennis and Christina with Dreammaker, your next kitchen, your dream kitchen, Dreammaker. And it's a big part of this is who you do business with. You're going to want to do business with Dennis and Christina of Dreammaker. They are just fantastic, and they're so talented. And their design center, state of the art, Greenwich Avenue in Warwick, right near Crown Plaza, right next door to Koch Eye, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. You can call them 401 433 7272 for Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Well, folks, good afternoon. Again, this is the real news. I just, between the situation where I see this as at 151, and I want to be very clear. I just, this is too much. This is too much for this administration. And again, with all of the problems right now that the state is on the verge of having and is on the verge of having, I'm not I just see a perfect storm where you have a governor and lieutenant governor who are not equipped. I'm not saying it would be easy, by the way. You need someone with a certain skill set, but I don't think it is someone who, in fact, um, is prepared to work our way out. I also think, now, part of this, by the way, and I'm talking about the governor, I'm talking about Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee. He is the wrong person at the wrong time. He also, though, I don't understand all the promises that he made to get elected. All those bills are coming due. And he essentially has handed over his administration to organized labor. And they don't want to hear anything about they have no layoff clauses. The embarrassment that's the Providence Public Schools with no end in sight to how that's ever going to be repaired. The selfishness of adults involved in that equation, where everything caters towards and again, I'm not trying to be redundant or a broken record, but it's all geared towards the teachers union. It's not about the children. It's not trying to educate them. This has been 5 years since that report came out, that John Hopkins report. And, I think it would have been different under a Gina Raimondo. But Governor McKee immediately caved, gave them the contract they wanted, gave them bonuses. That's just one example. He was immediately seen as an easy pushover in negotiations. And I mean, part of me is this is going to be enjoyable to watch, that things are going to get ugly at the State House. And you're not talking about someone that rules with an iron hand. You're not talking about, look at who President Trump surrounds himself with and the brain trust that he has surrounded himself with. And when you compare that to Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee, he's not seeking the best talent. He's not seeking people that can point the state in the right direction. He's just trying to appease some of the people that he made promises to. But even now, it's just going to be more and more out of reach. That Superman building is not going to happen. The amount of money that they have blown through on the roads and the bridges, I do think it's criminal. And that's why you have to remind people that there is an FBI probe. I think it was very telling when the lead attorney that was supposed to represent the state in going after some of the money, they're so lawsuit crazy and hungry. But I think it's Max Wistow bailed out of the deal. I think that was very telling, that he saw the writing on the wall. He saw that their efforts were to try to cover up for people. And then he decided, I know where this goes. I think someone like Max Wistow, he, say what you want, the guy, he knows the formula that needs to be in place for him to be successful. And I think he already recognizes that with the constraints of a Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee and his cronies and how they run things, that you're just not going to be successful. So this whole data breach, I think this is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's uncovering how the governor and his staff don't recognize, they don't have the ability to fully recognize look at how they're playing with people's livelihoods. Look at how, it's so unnecessary. This is a total letdown. And this whole business of this could happen, they say that every time. They try to treat every government failure as though, as I've said, it's like an act of God. They act like it's a bolt of lightning. It's like the bridge. No one could have foreseen that. I don't believe that. That's people that they have excuses, they have an out, and they're just trying to explain away their incompetence. It is, as you start to look at the landscape, I mean, the whole data breach thing with the state, that's pretty serious, but there's going to be other things that they're not up to this. I think it's kind of the way I think the Crafts are re-looking at the Patriot coaching situation. For Gerard Mayo to say, "Oh, I was thinking the same thing. Why didn't Drake May run at 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1?" I mean, that's not a good sign. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by AJ Home Improvement. So whether you have your home or your business, residential or commercial, call them, AJ Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They can do it all. It's AJ Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. 401-323-9252. AJ Home Improvement. What a difference it's going to make for your home. And again, maybe it's just the inside of your home, fresh coats of paint. Maybe you want to redo your unfinished garage, unfinished basement. AJ Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. Well, folks, good afternoon. This is the real news. And I want to be very clear. I'm not looking, this isn't a stunt or anything like that. I'm telling you right now, I've seen all that I need to see. And this latest crisis that Governor Mckee and his staff are working through, that has told me all I need to know. This is, it's going to be one thing after another. The bridge was too much. Now the data breach is too much. There's going to be other fiascos. The wrong person is at the helm. All right. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone that is watching, yes, we're going to be doing Road Patrol Live later. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And again, you can always visit the website, depetro.com, DEPETRO.com. Enjoy this sunny Tuesday.